Hello, I am Sensei Joao Paulo, and this week I will present some commentaries about the practice of Kenjutsu in free forms. It's an important step in the learning of the student, because has present the opportunity of the student to use all the concepts that he learned during his apprenticeship, during his journey inside the martial way, the martial path, and has the opportunity to use all these elements that he learning in, for example, in the Suburi, in the Sotadosa, in Awase, in Kumitachi, and use these movements with a new perception of elements that can be training, that can be studied in free forms. Because in free forms, in this case in Kenjutsu, does not have uke or tori, and the persons, the students, the master or the master and the student that has the opportunity to practice in this way has the opportunity to study other elements that wasn't in the focus of the learning in other seitegatas, in other elements that the students has experienced in his formation, in his path, while students of Kenjutsu, for example, and can use these new perceptions, these new forms to develop the strategy, the use of the space of the Ma'ai, other elements, angles, the use of angles, the use of other types of velocity, of speed, other types of time. Consider the times that is presented in the Bugei, in the Kenjutsu practice. For example, some Seitegata, some practices in initial stage of the learning of the study of Kenjutsu has the Ayuchi as a time of practice. So the student in free forms can use other types of times, of speeds, and combine these elements to try to reach the objective of the practice in free forms, that is to build, to thinking in a way of acts, in a way of perform the movements, this simulated battle, the simulated combat, the simulated fight against other person, against his master, against another student, and use all these elements to practice a new way of thinking in Kenjutsu, using all these elements, combining all these elements. And the practice of free forms are important too, because the teacher, the master, can use this practice to test, to see how the student responds, how the student reacts when put it in this type of situation, in this type of pressure, when he has to use another types of movimentation, another types of thinking, when the uke in this situation, the person who attacks in this situation, because free forms does not have uke or tori, has just opponents. So in this case, the professor can see how the student reacts when is put it in this kind of situation, when the uke, the other person, will attack in a free form. So it's important to see how the student can use all elements that he learned in the past, has he learned during his apprenticeship in Kenjutsu, and see how developed is the thinking, the way of thinking of the student in his situation, because free forms are very different of the Seitegata forms. In free forms does not have the worry, the concern to practice in a real form, and free forms has other type of view of practice, has other objective that is in this case distinct, that is not the same of the practice in Shinjitsu. Free forms has another type of way of thinking that the professor, the teacher, the master can use this free-form practices to see how is the thinking of the student in this specific type of situation. And it's important to talk, it's important to note that the free forms, the practicing in free forms occurs only in a very specific moment of classes. His apprenticeship inside the Kenjutsu way, the Kenjutsu Bugei forms. I remember that Shidoshi Thiago only used this kind of practice in special moments of classes, in special moments of the flow of the learning with all the students, with me and other students, and in certain situations, in special situations, Shidoshi Thiago stopped at the classes and invited us to a practice in free forms. And for the students, for me at least, for me, it was a very interesting, it was a very important moment to practice with respect, with a very kind way of thinking, but trying to reach the objective of the learning in free forms. But for me it was a very special moment to practice with my master in a free-form situation, because I just was thinking how I can react against my master, using the better way of thinking, the best way that I can thinking at that moment, to use all the elements that I learned to try to do my best against my teacher that invited me to free-form practice. So it's for me a very interesting point to see, to note in the concepts, in the elements that compound the form, the practices in free form. Another interesting point that we can see, that we can note in free form practice, is how your body reacts against the other person, against your opponent in this situation. How your face reacts, your face express some kind of feeling, to not allow or allowing the opponent to use your expressions to measure your performance, to measure your fight, to try to do a counterattack based on informations that your face shows to your opponent. So that is another interesting point in the practice of free forms. Training your body, to training your face, your body, to not show the real feeling that you are in that moment, or using your body, use your face, use your expressions to try to reach the objectives of free form practice and win his simulated combat, and try and hit and cut your opponent in this kind of situation, of battle situation. So that is an important point, that is a very interesting point, that is showed, that is practiced, that is studied in free forms, in this case in free forms, using Kenjutsu concepts and ways of strategy in Kenjutsu way of thinking. So that is all the commentaries that I can show, that I can present to you this week. And if you wish, please send to us some commentaries, some topics that you can see in another videos, because that is an opportunity, that is a chance that we have to show, to discuss with you another kinds of topics, another kinds of issues that is inserted in the Bugey universe.